Hello, my name is Qiqi. Today my presentation is titled Research on Duolingo Product Optimization Strategies based on User Comment Sentiment Analysis. This slide presents the overall structure of my paper, which is systematically explained across 5 chapters. Duolingo is a highly representative gamified language learning application with a large user base and a high usage frequency. On Google Play, a sustainable number of users voluntarily leave reviews that reflect their real usage experience and emotional responses. Therefore, by starting from user reviews, we can more closely approach authentic product usage contexts and capture the mechanisms underlying user satisfaction and dissatisfaction. However, existing research shows two clear limitations. First, many studies on Duolingo focus on learning outcomes, user motivation, or gamification mechanisms, and often rely on questionnaires or skill experiment. As a result, they struggle to capture emotional feedback arising from a real usage process. Second, even when sentiment analysis is applied, emotional polarity is often treated as an absolute outcome, lacking systematic linkage between user emotions and specific product mechanisms. Therefore, how to connect large-scale user emotions with concrete product features and further translate them into actionable product optimization strategies is the research gap this study aims to address. Based on this gap, the study proposes an integrated objective to combine sentiment analysis with topic modeling in order to systematically explain how user satisfaction and dissatisfaction are formed. Specifically, this includes 3 aspects: analyzing the distribution and the intensity of positive, neutral, and negative reviews, identifying latent core topics within user comments, examining the relationships between different topics and the emotional polarities, and proposing optimization recommendations that better balancing learning experience and commercial strategies. Accordingly, 5 research questions are proposed in this presentation. Together, these questions form a pathway from observation emotions to explaining mechanisms, and finally to providing recommendations. This slide presents the relevant literature review, which systematically examining existing studies related to this research topic. It focuses on key research perspectives, methodologies, and their development trajectories, and on this basis summarizes current research limitations, thereby providing theoretical grounding and the research space for the present study. Methodologically, this study adopts an NLP-based analytical framework. The overall process includes data collection, text pre-processing, sentiment analysis, and topic modeling. Widr is used for sentiment polarity detection, as it is well suited for short text emotional expression, while LDA is applied for topic modeling to extract latent semantic structures from the reviews. In terms of sentiment distribution, Duolingo reviews are overall positively skewed, approximately 71% are positive, 16% neutral, and 13% negative, indicating a generally favorable user attitude. 2 points are worth emphasizing. First, positive sentiment is largely driven by gamified experience and ease of use, which doesn't necessarily imply sustained improvement in learning outcomes. Second, although neutral and negative reviews account for a smaller proportion, they more intensively reflect structural dissatisfaction, making them more valuable for diagnosing product issues. Topic modeling further revealed that user discussions are not dispersed but highly concentrated. The largest proportion of topics relates to the energy system, life limitation, and paywalls, indicating a high level of user attention to current monetization mechanisms. In contrast, topics related to usability, language diversity, and overall learning experience are more frequently associated with positive emotions. This suggests that user emotions are not randomly generated, but systematically directed towards specific product features, with commercial design exerting a more sensitive influence on negative sentiment. By combining sentiment polarity with topic distribution, a clear structure emerges. Positive emotions are primarily concentrated around incentive-driven and usability-oriented design, while negative emotions cluster significantly around restrictive monetization practice and mechanisms that disrupt learning continuity. Thus, the value of the integrated analysis lies in its ability not only to state that users are unhappy, but to specify which mechanisms are the main sources of dissatisfaction, thereby supporting more targeted optimization strategies. These conclusions can be summarized in 3 points. First, large-scale user reviews not only reflect overall attitudes, but also reveal the product mechanisms through which emotions are formed. Second, positive evaluations are more indicative of emotional engagement, such as fun, easy of use, and willingness to participate, rather than direct improvement in learning outcomes. Third, negative sentiment exposes the tension between monetization-oriented design and learning continuity, with dissatisfaction clustering around specific mechanisms. Therefore, product optimization should be guided by differentiated emotional feedback rather than relying solely on a single overall satisfaction metric. The contributions of this study fall into 3 categories. Theoretically, it integrates sentiment polarity with topic structure to achieve a structured emotion mechanism explanation. Extending effective analysis in education technology beyond simple classification towards mechanism-oriented interpretation. Methodologically, it proposes a scalable and interpretable framework, balancing transparency and reusability. Empirically, it demonstrates that negative sentiment is primarily driven by commercialization-related mechanisms, while positive sentiment is more closely associated with engagement and experience-oriented design. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your listening.